Tony Stewart just finished a jaw-dropping interview, and let's just say he didn't hold back. But wait, NASCAR fans, Stewart also weighed on the controversial incident in Las Vegas involving Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace. So what did he just say that was so shocking? Stay tuned to NASCAR Zone to the end as we find out what Tony Stewart really thinks and why he's not afraid to say what's on his mind. But before we dive into that, do subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Tony Stewart, a veteran NASCAR driver, recently shed light on Bubba Wallace's heated fight with Kyle Larson at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway last year. Stewart has stated that if he had been in Larson's shoes, he would not have let Wallace bully him throughout the incident. Kyle Larson discussed the situation on a recent episode of the Dale Jr. Download podcast, and Tony Stewart, after hearing the former's comments, issued a severe warning to Bubba Wallace.
Guy that could do that.
Kyle's not a fighter. I texted Kyle after the Bubba incident at Las Vegas, and I was like, listen, I understand him pushing you once, but the second time he did it, that's enough. And the third time he pushed you, that I'd have laid his ass out.
Yeah, you would have.
I said, what are you doing? He goes, man, I've never been in a fight in my life, and I didn't want to get my ass kicked in front of all these people.
Yeah.
It's like, I get it. All right. We're going to teach you how to fight, though, bud. So,
looking at Stewart's outburst, it is quite clear that he is not at all pleased with Bubba Wallace for how he treated Kyle Larson in Las Vegas. Furthermore, has indicated that he will teach Larson how to fight back during heated arguments. During his racing career, Tony Stewart was known for being a jerk and getting into fights with his fellow drivers. He never backed down from a fight, and his reaction to Larson's mistake is reasonable given how he was as a racing driver. While Tony Stewart has stated that he will assist Kyle Larson in learning the art of fighting back, he has also expressed surprise at Larson's reaction. He had someone pushing him, and he didn't fight back. One thing to keep in mind is that Stewart and Larson have very distinct personalities. Tony Stewart has a reputation for going into fights, but Kyle Larson wants to avoid any type of conflict as much as possible. Even if he does find himself in one, he efforts to remain as cool as possible. This distinguishes Larson from the majority of other NASCAR drivers. Keeping a cool head during heated arguments can help prevent things from going further. Last year, Larson elected not to respond to Bubba Wallace's constant shoves at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Considering how aggressive NASCAR drivers are these days, it's important to have drivers like Larson who are cool. What are your thoughts on Tony Stewart's comments on Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson? Let us know in the comment section below. Be sure to hit the bell button and subscribe to our channel to get the latest updates. People often claim that skill comes from God. It suggests that some people are born with a natural ability for something and do not need to work hard to achieve it. The concept is especially prevalent in racing, where drivers are frequently regarded to be either skilled or not. Tony Stewart thinks the truth is much more complex than that. He claims he worked at McDonald's and other really bad jobs to pay for his passion for driving. Tony was candid in a recent interview with Kenny Wallace on the Kenny Conversation, saying, "I didn't like real jobs."
Because, yeah, I didn't like working real jobs. I didn't like, I worked at McDonald's 2 different times while I was in school and right after I graduated until I got settled in somewhere. I've worked some really crappy jobs along the way to get where we're at, but it was all so I could race. And I've realized in motorsports, people don't realize how much work's involved in it from a driver's standpoint. Now, you talk about car owners and crew guys, ton of work involved, but it's equally taxing for us as drivers because we constantly have to think about what we're doing. I mean,
the conversation with Kenny Wallace provides insight into Tony's life and shows the importance of hard effort in achieving success. Tony's advice is straightforward. In order to be successful, you must work hard and be dedicated. There are no easy approaches to achieving your objectives. Tony Stewart Racing created history last week when it won 2 races in the NHRA 4-Wide Nationals on the Strip at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Tony Stewart, who is in the Hall of Fame, and Matt Hagan both won in front of a crowded house. Antron Brown won Top Fuel and Dallas Glenn won Pro Stock in the NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series. Stewart made his NHRA debut in the Top Alcohol Dragster category of the NHRA Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series last season. He won his first race in his 4th event, his first in the NHRA. In the final round, he drove his Mobile 1 dragster for 5.324 seconds at 269.62 miles per hour. Last year, the legendary racer finished second in his first NHRA race, the Las Vegas Fall Race. He won this year, adding to his NASCAR, NHRA, and IndyCar victories. Tony Stewart demonstrates what can happen when you work hard and give it your all. Tony Stewart, like Bubba Wallace, has delivered numerous bombshells, one of which is concerning the next-gen vehicle. Since its debut in 2022, much has been written about the next-gen vehicle. While the regulations and guidelines surrounding it are debatable, their effectiveness is gradually becoming apparent. NASCAR must be acknowledged for this. At the same time, the competition's team owners should be recognized. Tony Stewart, three-time Cup Series champion, explains why. Tony Stewart explains why NASCAR team owners were crucial in bringing the next-gen car to life.
I want you to tell me if this is a rumor or not. So the new car, it was said that Rick Hendrick, Roger Penske, Jack Roush, Richard Childress, all the top car owners, I want you to tell me if this is true or false. They went to NASCAR and they said, because you're an owner, they said, save us because we're spending so much money molding these cars. Just let us get a car so we can get rid of, and we got so many employees, it's killing us. Is it true? I'm not saying you, but did all the owners in NASCAR ask for this next-gen car?
Absolutely. I mean,
Wow.
it had to happen because the spending per team per year was getting astronomical. The resources that you were having to put into it, and what it was doing was separating lower third, middle third, and top tier teams. The top tier teams were well funded, had a lot of resources. The lower tier teams, it was all they could do to just survive and get cars to the racetrack. So we needed, for the health of the sport, we needed to find a way to cut costs, to cut back on. I mean, I think Gibbs at one point had over 600 employees for 4 Cup teams.
And running one car, one race.
Yeah.
Yeah, running a car, one race, and then stripping it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that was the standard. I mean, that's how far the competition has pushed itself and how technology has got involved and pushed this sport. So the owners realized, for the longevity of it, from the ownership side, that we needed to ask for that. And I think the new car is, I don't know, I have opinions about the new car. I don't think I would have asked a sports car manufacturer to design a stock car. That's where I'll go with that.
Given the cost of a Cup Series car, that certainly puts things into perspective. However, as Stewart points out, there is a disadvantage to the next-gen vehicle. This season has seen an unusually high number of wrecks. It is a growing concern as next-gen vehicles encourage drivers to be more fearless in the event of a collision. Recently, Austin Dillon explained how the Gen 7 car's strong front end generated such confidence in the drivers. Stewart responds,
Well, you're onto something there. The front ends are strong. The toe links in the rear are not strong. That's the thing that you have to guard. I mean, you can change them obviously during a pit stop, but that is the weak link. I mean, we used to be able to bang off the wall and it didn't take us out of the race. Now it screwed the sheet metal up and probably had a tire rub with it. But that's the great thing about the composite bodies. You don't really get as many tire rubs because the bodies are pushed back out. The hard part is the suspension components and having the toe links in the back for independent rear suspension. I mean, that is kind of a weak link in the cars right now.
while the owners were correct in their cost-cutting strategy, it is critical to prioritize the driver's safety. After all, it is their on-track antics that make NASCAR the incredible sport that it is. So that is for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell us in the comments what you think about the video. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see more of our videos on NASCAR updates. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.